Welcome in to No One Asked Us. He is Craig Choate. I am Logan Lee. We are recording this Monday evening, January 9th. Kickoff of the College Football Championship is just a couple hours away. So we'll do a little bit of previewing for that, giving our picks, but there won't be much previewing for that game. Plenty of Illini sports to talk about. Illini men's basketball finally got in the win column. Illini women's basketball was soaring, finally in the top 25. We have some Illini football news we'll talk about too, plus some other things. Craig, what are you laughing at?
You said soaring, and the first thing that popped in my head was, I believe it's High School Musical, the song.
Soaring.
Yeah, which I've never seen that movie, but that's what popped in my head as soon as I heard the word soaring.
The song is called Breaking Free. Great song. It's a jam. Welcome in. No One Asked Us. Make sure to give us a like, a subscribe, get in the comments section. Let us know what's going on, what you're watching. Comments about the show, comments about anything we're talking about, whatever it is, we want to hear from you. Follow us on all of our social media at No One Asked Us Pod. He's at Craig W. Choate. I'm at the Logan Lee on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all of that stuff. We got plenty of Illini stuff to talk about, but just kind of catching up. How's it going? Anything kind of you want to run off here off the top of the show? I know you're still a little under the weather, and I would say I'm not 100%. I'm close to 100%, but I know last week we were both struggling a little bit. So how you doing now? Where you at on the the scale?
I would say I'm like 82.5. I'm not 85. I'm not 80. I'm just fighting off a cough. That's the only remnants I have. That's legitimately the only thing. And it's really only when I talk for an extended period of time. So not great for a podcast. But other than that, I'm totally fine. And that's all it's really has been a cough. I had a little bit of some congestion, a little, but I never went through the whole cold where, one nostril's blocked and then the other nostril. I never went through that. It was more so a sore throat, which I'm over. My throat is not sore. I'm just coughing a lot. So on cue. That's about it. About it.
Nothing else to update the people on about your life. You haven't gone into any events.
I feel like
you did have a weekend. We'll talk about.
I did have a weekend.
We're gonna get into your weekend.
I feel like you're fishing for the. I'm no longer an employee of the University of Illinois.
No, I'm really not.
Okay.
I'm really not. Is that something
I
you
will
want to
throw
talk
that
about?
out there. That's all I'm gonna say. I was not. If I was not fired, I did not no bad blood. Just I live in Louisville, and eventually the remote thing working for the University of Illinois while living in Louisville was going to run its course, and it has. So yeah, that's it. No bad blood. I was not fired for anything. It's just the time had come to find something down here, and so I no longer work for the U of I. I felt like that's what you were fishing for.
Honestly, I was not. I was just genuinely just seeing if there was anything you needed to talk about, get off your chest before we start to get into the bulk of this show. Nope. I know in the past we've done our, what caught your eye, moments of the week things, and we haven't done that in a while, and that's fine. But I do have a shout out.
I know what you're gonna say.
A name I have not mentioned on this show in about a year. Caitlin Young,
She's
man,
killing it.
She is killing it in the Valley. Oh my goodness, Murray State. Caitlin Young, the Oakwood product from my hometown, last night or over the weekend, just put on a show. Murray State lost, I think, at Drake. But these are the numbers. She had a program record tying 19 field goals, third most points all time for a racer in a game, most points by a Missouri Valley Hoops player since 2006 in a game. Only the fifth Valley Hoops player all time to score 19 or more field goals, and the most field goals by a Division I player this season. Caitlin Young is on a tear. Once again, named the Missouri Valley Conference Player of the Week. Just absolute shout out. Like, the girl is just tearing it up. Even in the Missouri Valley. I mean, she was tearing it up in the Ohio Valley. I knew the Missouri Valley wasn't going to be a huge step up for her, but just to see what she's continuing to do at that level is just absolutely phenomenal. They play at Valpo towards the end of the season, hoping to get to that game. I think there's also an Illinois men's game that same night, so I may or may not be able to watch that game. But excited to hopefully go see her play because she's just absolutely lighting it up. So shout out Caitlin Young and Missouri State women's basketball. All right, let's get into this thing.
Murray State, not Missouri.
Murray State, Murray.
Okay.
The
You
Racers.
sounded like you said Missouri. I just wanted to clarify.
Murray State, not Missouri State. They are in the Missouri Valley Football Conference. Let's just go to Illini men's basketball. It was a week. The Illini started the week going on the road and losing at Northwestern for what was their 1,000,000th loss in the last month. It feels like it was really like their third. But things weren't looking good. Then of course they returned home on Saturday in essentially a must-win game against Wisconsin, a game that Craig was at. We'll get more of his thoughts here shortly. But the Illini do what they need to do. They look like the team that we saw back in November and early December, and they took down the Badgers at home. So they go 1-1 on the week. The other big news, and again, we'll get to your weekend specifically. The other big news, of course, Sky Clark announced on social media on Friday that he was leaving the team. Don't know if it's temporary. Don't know if this is an indefinite situation. Don't know much more about that. But that was something of note. He had started in the first several games of this season. He had kind of struggled a little bit. But either way, definitely something of note. So those were the three big things. We've already talked about a lot of this stuff on our post-game shows, but let's get a little bit more into the nitty-gritty of this thing, especially since our show on Saturday was a little sped up because you, of course, were trying to not get kicked out of State Farm Center. So now that you've had some time to digest all these things this week that Illinois basketball has had, let's just start with this. Where is your panic meter at right now?
On a scale of 1 to 10?
Sure. Yes.
2.
Where was it at after Northwestern?
Initially probably like a 6.
Okay.
I've kind of had like a epiphany. You know, what did we say about this team preseason?
A lot of questions. It's going to take time. It's going to take time for this team to gel.
That right there, that.
Huh.
And then they come out and they beat UCLA and Texas, and we're like, oh my God, this is a national championship team. It's not. Those 2 wins inflated our expectations. They're fine. They're totally fine. They're 10-5. I know the Big Ten is not looking great right now, but they're 10-5. They have 3 really good wins. They have no terrible losses. All 5 of their losses are to Power 5 teams, high major teams. All of them, as of now, I believe, are tournament teams. The resume is fine. This team is fine. It's going exactly, if not better than I think people expected, because I don't think people expected them to beat Texas or UCLA, I mean, I think they probably expected them to beat Wisconsin. Did they expect Illinois to lose to Penn State, Maryland, and Missouri? Probably not. But I think you almost make the trade. You make that trade. You would rather beat UCLA and Texas and lose to Maryland and Missouri as opposed to lose to Maryland and Missouri, or lose to Texas and UCLA and beat Maryland and Missouri. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
Those 2 massive wins are better than the flip-flop, the vice versa. So
I'm with you.
They're fine. They're totally fine. I know the losses against Northwestern and Penn State are not great. Missouri specifically, not great. But on paper, this team, freaking Siri. On paper, this team is fine. That's where I'm at. I am not concerned. Maybe it's some bias because I was in the building and I saw the way they played on Saturday, and that's the team that needs to play. But I don't know that there's much of a reason for panic at the moment. Now, if they, what's coming up here? If they lose 4 of the next 5 and they drop to 11-9 and they're about 500 and they're 2-6 in the Big Ten, then maybe and it's probably start to get to like 8, 9 on the panic scale. But right now at 10-5, on pace for close to a 20-win season and 11 or 12 Big Ten wins, things are fine. Things are totally fine. And I realized that after the game Saturday when I was looking at, thinking back to what happened and looking at some other scores and looking at the Big Ten standings, and things are fine. What's the Aaron Rodgers? RELAX. I'll leave you with that.
Yeah. On Friday afternoon at about 4:30, I think things in Illinois country had hit what I'm hoping to be rock bottom. At that point, they were just a couple days off of the Northwestern loss, and word had got out. Now we don't need to get into the details of the roller coaster of an event on Twitter with the Sky Clark announcement, but it eventually came out that he was leaving, taking a leave of absence. Is that what you want to say? Go ahead.
Can I just clarify?
Yes, please.
Left the team and left the program are two completely different things. Left the team is what he did. He needs time away. He has stuff to figure out. Leaving the program, while not saying it, insinuates they're gone. They're not coming back. I just want to throw that out there.
I don't want to get into my thoughts on what happened. It's not why I'm here. But yes, things were said on Twitter, which indicated that he was leaving the team, like flat out leaving the program, like done. Him to be not necessarily the truth. We don't exactly know what's happening or when he'll be back or if he'll be back. But what the initial report was not true. Regardless, at that point, I think things had gone really bad. Things had really, I hope that was rock bottom, because it was, it's already kind of been rocky the past month. It's been a month. I looked it up. The Penn State game was exactly 4 weeks ago. It was 4 weeks of this. The Penn State loss, then you essentially squeak by Alabama A&M, then you get your butt kicked in St. Louis against Mizzou, then you get a 30-point win against Bethune-Cookman, which you needed to get, and then you open up January again with the loss on the road at Northwestern. Things have not gone well, and I think there was a lot of knives and pitchforks out calling for Brad Underwood's job, all these things. People are upset about Brad, about his coaching, about him building his team. I don't know what the rest of the season is going to hold. I really don't. None of us do. There's plenty of, you can have your concerns. I certainly do about the depth on this team right now, especially at the lead guard position. Hopefully Luke Goody gets back here in the next couple of weeks, which would be a great addition. Where I stand on this whole thing, and this has kind of been my thought from the moment, from where this season started, after we knew who was coming into this team, after we knew the additions that were made, my thought this entire time has been, okay, 2 years ago, and I think I've talked about this on the show. So, but 2 years ago, you win the Big Ten tournament championship, and you're a number 1 seed. Last season, you win the Big Ten regular season championship. The thing we're missing is a run in the tournament. I'm not going to say that this team is the best Illinois basketball team we've had the last 3 years. I think that was the team 2 years ago. I think the team with Io and Kofi as a number 1 seed was the best team Illinois has had on the basketball court the past 3 seasons. But I do still believe that this
past 20 seasons.
Yes, past 20 seasons. Regardless, I still do believe that this team is certainly built to make a tournament run. Not predicting they're going to win the national championship, but this team is built to do that, and I still think they are. Granted, they can't afford to lose a ton more Big Ten games, or else they may not make the tournament. But I think this team is still capable of being that team and checking off the next box and essentially what needs to happen. And I still hold that. I think that's true. The past month has been bad. It has been a lot of bad basketball, some supposed locker room issues, whatever. I trust that they'll get it figured out. They'll get it cleaned up. I think they probably saw on Saturday against Wisconsin that they are one of the most talented teams in the conference, if not the whole country. Just in terms of the talent on the team. Does that necessarily mean you're going to win every game? No, it does not. And you're at this point most likely not going to be in the running to win the Big Ten title. But I don't think that really needs to be a goal for this team at this point. The goal needs to be to get better every single day and to make a run in March. I think that is the absolute goal for this team, and I think this team is built to do that. We'll see what happens, but I think that's where we're at right now.
Yeah, something I liked on Saturday, and I obviously watched this after we did our post game, so I didn't say it, but normally I'll watch the post game stream of the players, the press conference of the players, and Brad at the podium, or what if it's an away game, it's just Brad at the podium. Obviously Saturday was home, so they had the players, and even there, it seemed like they were in a completely different mindset. You know, Coleman Hawkins and Terrence Shannon were giving in-depth answers. Like, this is how practice is going. You know, this is why we were successful today. We were getting into our offense. We were running our sets. And that's something that we hadn't seen, obviously, since Penn State. It seemed like the energy was back. They were having fun again, even in the arena. You know, Sincere and the guys were, after they would make a run and Wisconsin would call timeout, they were jumping off the bench and celebrating and getting the crowd into it. It was just a different vibe from the tip, even to the post game press conference that I watched. It seemed like they cared a little bit more, and it's easy to do when you beat the number 14 team in the country by 10, to show some emotion. But it felt like the life was back into the program, and that's a good sign. But if it's not there on tomorrow night, and then we just go back to square one, and it was just not a fluke, but it was just like a flash in the pan on Saturday against Wisconsin. So you got to keep it going.
Not a lot of wiggle room here at this point. You've already now suffered 3 Big Ten losses. Is that right? 3? Mm-hmm. Yeah, 3 Big Ten losses.
1 and 3.
Obviously, you can afford to have a few more and still make the tournament. But when you start
20 wins is always my benchmark.
Yeah. So when you start the season that way, it can definitely make things difficult for later on. So just got to keep doing what they're doing. As I've already said, they are on paper one of the most talented teams in the conference. There is not a guy in the Big Ten that can match up with Terrence Shannon. I don't think, personally. Teams can do things to limit him, but I don't think there's anybody that can stop him when he's going downhill with his left hand. If they can get shooting going, there's some things that need to be done. RJ Melendez has to get some confidence somewhere. He's really struggling to shoot the basketball. I love Jaden Epps. I'm ready to give Jaden Epps the keys to this team, and let him be the point guard. But he needs some help, and I don't know what the situation with Sky is. I don't know how long he's going to be out and be away from this team, if he returns at all. But that's certainly going to be a position of weakness, since Brad wanted to trust the freshman and not bring in an experienced guard, point guard to take minutes away from them, and I everybody wanted to respect that choice. But this is the situation you're in now. You just don't have a lot of that with him. So there's enough talent here. Just gotta make it happen. Do you want to talk any more about your weekend, about visiting Champaign, about being at this game? I know that you were kind of already talked about, just a different energy in that place. You're obviously better luck than I am, because when I was in that building a month ago, things did not go well. So, what was it like being back there this year?
I haven't sat that high up in a long time.
You were high up. You were high up. I did notice that.
200 level, row 16, I think. I had not set that high up for any game in a long time.
You have sent me. I've seen a few photos of you at sporting events lately that you've been sitting pretty high up. So I think you sent a picture of a Louisville football game where you were sitting pretty high up too at one point, or something
Oh,
else.
that's a suite though, and they're on the top
Okay.
level. They're
Oh
right
well.
below the press box.
Excuse
So,
me.
so
Excuse
yeah,
me. I'm
yeah.
sorry. I'd hate to
I'm okay
offend.
with those seats.
Okay,
Um,
whatever.
that I mean, Jeez, Siri just likes to pop off here. No, I mean it's always nice to be back. I think we've me and the group of guys that went. It's the same group except there was one swap of two guys that went last year to the Arizona game. We brought one of our Arizona friends with us last year, swapped out him with an Illini grad, U of I grad this year. So we're trying to make it a yearly trip for us. We touched on it Sunday when we woke up. You know, as soon as the schedule comes out for next season, we got to figure out which one we want to get to and all that. So it's fun. 4 of the guys are grads, and then me and one of the other guys are just fans. Obviously, I lived there and worked there for a while, so connected to Champaign. But yeah, it's always a fun trip. Nothing crazy. I mean, a lot of the talk for them, it was one of the guys, it was his first time back in Champaign since he graduated. He said he hadn't been in Champaign in 15 years. So he hadn't seen, the transformation of Green Street and all that. So a lot of the talk was how all the bars that we would go to are closed. Like the only ones that are left are like Legends and Murphy's, which are the 2 we went to. And then also it was break. Students were still on break. So Cam's wasn't open. And there was another bar on Green Street. Oh, Joe's didn't open until like 9 or 10. I don't know if that's normal or not, but students weren't back. So I'm sure a lot of their workers weren't there. But yeah, it was a good trip. It was a good trip just to get back and spend some time in Champaign.
That's great. I'm glad you got to experience it. Glad that they played better when you were in the building than when I was there. And hopefully you're good luck. Hopefully everything turns around. Hopefully you're the one that rights the ship that I got off track. So optimistic that you can do that. Real quick, let's just kind of go through the week ahead for the Illini. On Tuesday, tomorrow night, they head to Nebraska. That's an 8 p.m. Central Time tip on Big Ten Network. And then Friday's a big one. They host Michigan State, 8 o'clock Central Time on FS1. Is Michigan State? No, they're not ranked. We'll get into the rankings here in a second. Yes, that is also the Orange Out Friday night at State Farm Center. So Tuesday at Nebraska, Friday at against Michigan State in Champaign. The AP poll came out today. Illinois still unranked. Not to be surprised. I wasn't expecting them to be ranked this week, although they are 26th in the coaches poll, which is something of note. I think if they pull off a couple wins this week, I think they'll find themselves back in the top 25 if I had to guess. But a month, when you have a month like they had, it's not really surprising that they're not there. Purdue is number 3 in the ranking. Wisconsin moves down to 18. That's it from the Big Ten. Literally, only 2 teams from the Big Ten are ranked in the top 25 teams in the country in the men's poll. Indiana, Michigan State, Northwestern, Illinois, Rutgers, and Ohio State all receiving votes. The Big Ten has not had a good week. I'm not going to go through all of the scores, but it was not a good week for the Big Ten.
16 top 25 teams lost last week.
Chaos, Craig.
Yeah.
Chaos.
That's the most I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's just kind of bedlam. Everybody's just kind of beating up on each other. That's kind of how this season has gone from the very beginning. So it's not really surprising. Things will kind of level themselves out as we get close to conference tournament time. But yeah, only 2 Big Ten teams in the top 25 this week. Other rankings for the Illini, they're 37 in the net. They're 20 or 30. Let me start over. 37th in the net, 32nd, not 7th. That's why I can't read
That's my bad.
It says 32th. That's why I can't
32nd.
32nd in KenPom. 25th in Evan Maya, 43rd in Bart Torvik, and then 34th in the BPI. Bracketology, everybody still has Illinois in, as they should be. ESPN has them at a 10 seed. Fox has them as an 11 seed. CBS has them as a 9, and they are a 9 seed on Bracket Matrix. But those 10 or 11 is not exactly where you want to be. That's pretty much the last 4 in or the last 4 out, that kind of range. So, as I said, I think this is a better team than that. I think they will get it together, and they will find themselves at a much higher seed once we get to March. But that's kind of where they stand right now. Okay, taking a look around the rest of the Big Ten. Yeah, it's been a weird year already. There's not a single team that is unbeaten in the Big Ten. Purdue suffered a loss, so they're 4-1. Northwestern, Michigan State, Wisconsin, and Michigan are all 3-1. And there's several teams that, or only two teams that have 2 losses, several teams with 3 losses, and then Minnesota's down there at 0-4. So wide open at this point. Who knows? It's only January 9th, but things are gonna get crazy, I think, in the Big Ten.
Have you looked at KenPom projections?
I have not.
I looked at these. I think I was on before I left town yesterday. I got on KenPom and looked. They have Purdue projected to go 15-5 in the Big Ten. They have Minnesota projected to go 2-18. The other 12, all of the other 12 teams are projected to go between 12-8 and 8-12. So it's Purdue and Minnesota, and the other 12 are like right there. So Illinois could go get second. Illinois could get 13.
That's what I'm saying, man. And I don't know.
It's gonna be wild.
Chaos. So yeah, Big Ten's already been fun, and it's only January 9th. A couple other things from across college basketball. Word officially came down that Texas officially fired Chris Beard. Not really a shock there. But that word came around last week, so attention now has been directed to where they go from here. I've seen several names.
What a wild story
for that job. I know. I don't know what's going on there. Yeah, we don't need to get into the nitty gritty of that, but
no, I more so put it on there for names that are being thrown out,
such as Coach Calipari of the
that's the one.
Kentucky Wildcats. Yeah, Kentucky is also struggling.
They didn't receive a single vote in the poll today.
Yeah, Kentucky.
They have the same record as Illinois.
10-5. Yeah, their losses are to Michigan State, Gonzaga, UCLA, Missouri, and Alabama. They have better losses. They have better losses than Illinois does.
Yeah.
I mean, Illinois beat one of those teams, but yeah, those aren't bad losses. But Kentucky fans, I think, their decision's already made up. Like I think they're over the Calipari experience, which, as somebody that comes from a fan base that's never won a national title, I think it's crazy. But I guess I can understand where some of these fans are coming from. So
yeah,
who knows? I read something that said Coach Cal could use like the Texas opening as leverage. Or he could use, I don't know, there's some leverage involved, but basically Kentucky isn't going to go for it basically anymore. So
yeah,
he may just be gone. So we'll see.
I wouldn't be surprised. I thought he was going to stay there forever, but the way the fan base is reacting to him right now, I think he's lost quite a bit of it. I think he's soured out. Let me throw a hypothetical at you here.
Okay.
And you're not going to want to hear it. Illinois Nation is not going to want to hear it. Does he listen if Texas comes calling?
I assume you're asking about Brad Underwood.
That would be the one. He has roots down there.
I mean, I don't know why he wouldn't listen.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good job.
Is it better than Illinois?
I don't know. I don't know if it is necessarily from a basketball specific job. I don't know that it is. I think the two jobs are fairly comparable. Maybe that's just me being the Illinois fan that thinks that. Maybe a neutral party might say something differently, but I don't know that it's that different of a job. But Texas is going to have more resources, and they can probably pay him more if they want him. So, I mean, it wouldn't shock me. If I were him, I would definitely listen.
KenPom also has this. I found 2 weeks ago. They have program ratings. Data from 1997 to 2022. program ratings. Do you want to take a guess at where Illinois is?
From what years?
1997 to 2022. They're up 5 over the last year. They moved up 5 spots.
Oh,
from
there's
last
some
year to
high
this year.
highs and there's some low lows in those years. I'd probably say they're in like the, I don't know, 20 to 25 range, maybe.
Better than that.
Really?
15th.
15? Okay.
Illinois is 15th.
Okay.
Their rating is 24.77. Their best, they finished second in 2005. Their worst was 2016. They finished 125th. That would have been Gross's last year, I believe. Their median is 28th. 6 top 10s, 13 top 25s, 17 top 50s. Any guess where Texas is?
Probably lower. Are they higher? I'm
They're
kind of
top 10.
surprised by that, actually.
They're 9th. Illinois'
Okay.
rating was 24.77. Texas is 27.42. For reference, Duke is first. Their rating is 46.57. So they've been great. Texas's best was number 3 in 06, number 117 in 98. Their median is 26, so very similar to Illinois'. They've been in the top 10, finished in the top 10 5 times, top 25 12 times, top 50 22 times. So very comparable, very comparable. Once they get from like, I would say from 9 to about 30 are very comparable. The top 6, 7, 8 of them are the Blue Bloods, obviously. But after you get past that, they're very comparable. The Illinois is a lot higher than I thought for the doldrum that they went through with Gross and the end of Weber. So maybe it's time for us to redo our program head coaching rankings.
We haven't done that in a while. Yeah, that might need to be should that be an on-air project or an off-air project?
I think it's probably an off-air that we post maybe to my blog that I posted to.
You're
twice.
a blogger.
And then we maybe give our top 10 on here. But
we should have just combined.
That's probably an off-season thing.
We should have just had the No One Asked Us blog, and just combine our work. Why do you have to feel like you need to be an individual? Why do you feel like you have to be your own person? Why can't we be a team?
No, never mind. I'm not going to get this started.
Oh, okay. Whatever. Anyway, drama. Okay. Illinois women's basketball. Soaring. Flying. They're breaking free. They're ranked number 24th.
Rolling.
That's not the same song. Ranked 24th in the country. The first time Illinois women's basketball is in the AP ranking since 2000.
I think it was Robert
2
Rosenthal.
Decades.
I think it was Robert that said 2 of the players were born the last time Illinois was ranked. 2 of them.
In 2 decades since Illinois has been in the top 25. They've been abysmal for 2 decades, and Shauna Green's been on campus for 3 months and has them ranking this high. 14-3 on the season, 4-2. They beat Northwestern at home this past week, and then they were at Ohio State, and they had a 17-point lead in that game.
Third quarter.
They eventually blew the lead and lost the game. But still, even after that, 24th in the country. Just absolute kudos to what they're doing with that program. They're a fun team to watch. 14-3 and 4-2, as I said. They go to Minnesota on Sunday. That's their only game this week. Tune in, check them out when they're on, because they're a lot of fun. For a while, I thought we were gonna just shift gears to being an Illini women's podcast. The men have kind of figured things out, so we'll probably talk about them for a little bit.
Yeah,
they're fun though.
Yeah, we've said it for a couple weeks. They shoot the 3 really well.
Yep.
And Kendall Bostic is on an absolute tear.
Mm-hmm.
She had 16 rebounds against Northwestern, and then I wasn't able to watch on Sunday, but I was keeping up on Twitter as I was driving and on ESPN or on the stats. I think she had 25 and 10 or 20 and 15 on Sunday as well. So a double-double. She's crushing it right now. They're fun. I think they're obviously it's too early to lock them into a tournament, but they're likely going to make the NCAA tournament, which for a first-year coach,
Yep.
Again, I'm stealing Robert's stuff here, so I'm sorry, Robert. I know you're probably not listening, but I'm crediting Robert here. And he said it well. This isn't like Shauna Green took over like a 50 to 60th ranked Ken Pom women's team and took them to the NCAA tournament in her first year. She took over like a 250th ranked women's Ken Pom. I know women's Ken Pom is not a thing, but like for comparison, it's not like they were right on the bubble of almost making the tournament. This team won 7 games last year. They won like one Big Ten game. And in 17 games, she has them ranked in the top 25, primed for a tournament berth in her first season. Like, just wild stuff. It's to the point already where I'm like, okay, how long is she going to be here? Who's going to come poach her in 2 years when she takes Illinois to back-to-back NCAA tournaments, and where's she going to go? Because that's where her trajectory is headed.
Yep. She's the real deal. And she's turning this program around in such a quick amount of time. It's pretty incredible. So, yeah, keep watching them. Minnesota on Saturday is their next game. Illini
Saturday? I
football
thought it was Sunday.
Sunday. Minnesota Sunday on the road. Illini football had a big day on Saturday, too. While the Illini men's basketball team was picking up their first Big Ten win against a ranked Wisconsin team, at the same time, Illini football had a pretty big announcement. Malik Elzy, receiver out of Simeon, 4-star receiver, signed with the Illini. It's huge. I mean, this is one of the single biggest signings Illinois football has had in quite some time. He's a 6'3", 200-pound receiver, over 1,000 receiving yards in high school. As a senior, he is as I said, 4-star recruit. 24/7 Sports has him. Yeah, 4 stars. Is the composite. He had his other teams that were up there that he was choosing between was like Michigan, Iowa, Notre Dame.
Tennessee was on there.
Was
Wisconsin.
he at one point associated with Cincinnati?
He was committed to Cincinnati.
Yeah. And then he backed out of that one and
before Fickle even left, he was committed to Cincinnati and decommitted during the season.
Huge. He's the highest rated receiver that Illinois has signed since really it's been in 2007. That's a long time ago.
He's the first Chicago Public League player since Martez Wilson, that same draft or same recruiting class.
Yeah. It's pretty great. 2 4-star skill position recruits that Illinois has signed this year for the first time since 2009. Just an incredible moment, an incredible day. Illinois football is going places. And we talked about Luke Altmaier a week or two ago. It's going to be the transfer in that they're going to get from Ole Miss. So he's got somebody to throw to. Big target. Elzy's not going to be the fastest guy out there, but he's skilled, very skilled, really good.
He's the first skill player in a long time that I'm confident in saying he's going to come in and play right away.
Yeah.
I feel like most skill players Illinois signs are developed guys that finally get on the field. Their second or probably third year, but this dude, he's going to see the field immediately. A good, I think he's more of an outside threat. I think I did see somewhere that he could play the slot, but like you said, he's not the fastest. So I think you keep Isaiah Williams obviously in the slot, and if you throw Elzy out there with Casey Washington or Pat Bryant or potentially Sean Miller, who missed this past season, hopefully he's healthy next year. The wide receiver room's starting to look starting to look like a Power 5 wide receiver room, which is good. So, this is massive. It's been kind of known for a long time that Illinois was the move, so I don't think many people were surprised. All the recruiting experts said that this is Illinois. Now, when Fickle took the Wisconsin job, things kind of got a little fishy, but it sounded like he decommitted from Cincinnati because he really wanted to be at Illinois. So it didn't matter really what was going to happen. Illinois was the place that he wanted to be. What the coolest part of it, though, was that he committed live on NBC during the All-American game. So I don't know how many eyeballs, I don't know how many people watch the high school All-American game on NBC. But to have a player commit live on NBC, when he choosing Illinois over schools like Tennessee and Wisconsin and Notre Dame. Yeah, like that says a lot. And not only him, David Alano, the kicker that Illinois signed, was also in the game and hit a 50-yard field goal during the game. So it was cool. They showed the announcement on the Jumbotron during a media timeout at State Farm Center. So a huge moment. Brett Bielema was at the basketball game and tweeted out a video. So yeah, huge momentum for Illinois football.
Big get. It's
did you see the Twitter exchange
between Bielema and Ryan Walters?
Well, there was a couple. Saturday, Aaron Henry said Sincere Harris has a spot on my defense whenever he wants it, and Chester Frazier was like, "Whoa, hold on, back off. He's a basketball player." And Aaron Henry said, "Yeah, Devin Witherspoon was a basketball player too, and he's going to be a second round pick." But yes, today the Bielema and Ryan Walters just replied, and I don't understand.
Oh, did he really?
I don't understand his response. It's someone holding a deck of cards or something. Yeah.
The exchange. Let me just pull it up here, so I can describe it for those that haven't actually seen it. So, PFF College Twitter account tweeted out the top 10 safeties in the 2023 NFL Draft, and 2 of them were Illini.
The only school with 2 on the list.
Yeah. Sidney Brown and
no, never mind. Alabama's got 2 as well.
Yeah. So they tweeted that out. Ryan Walters, of course, former defensive coordinator at Illinois, now the head coach at Purdue, quote tweeted it and said, "Hey, I know 2 of these guys. Hashtag my DBs get drafted."
A little self-centered.
To which Brett Bielema quote tweeted that tweet and said, "Hashtag our DBs get drafted. Hashtag ILL." And now we have a response from Ryan Walters. Seems to be insinuating that somebody is showing his cards, I think is what's happening here. I don't know. Whatever. But I saw that. I thought that was kind of fun.
What does that mean? I don't know what that means.
I don't know. I don't. I mean, somebody's showing their cards. That's whatever.
Walters is really going to annoy me at Purdue. I'm really annoyed that he's at Purdue.
Already?
Yeah. I'm over the being happy for him. Awesome. You got a head coaching job. Let's kick your face in.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. Okay. I think that's enough Illinois football.
Yeah.
Big football game tonight. I don't know when this will actually get posted, so you might actually be hearing this or watching this after.
It'll be after kickoff. Yeah.
But Georgia and TCU play for the college football championship tonight. We already made our picks last week. Craig took Georgia. I decided to take TCU because we are tied up in our pick your pick for the year. So I thought it may as well be better that one of us is different. So I'm taking TCU. Craig's taking Georgia. Feel any differently? Still taking Georgia?
To win the game, I have Georgia. I do have TCU plus 13, and the over 63.5 for tonight. Do with that as you wish. My record on the year is this is all sports.
It won't matter.
That's true. Good point.
Anytime, by the time anybody listens to this, the game will at least already start.
Good point.
But yeah, that is tonight. So we won't talk about it too much. We can maybe recap it next week. But I'm excited. I'm excited to watch.
I'm excited that it's not a 9:00 kickoff.
I am too. Kickoff at 7:30.
I was gonna ask you this.
Fan freaking tastic.
So I mean, it's probably a cliche question, but like everyone has their Super Bowl parties and you bring your Super Bowl food, but this isn't quite that. I don't think people gather for the college football championship. What's like your go-to like football watching food? Because we're gonna get something tonight for it.
So I mean, the cliche answer is like wings or like some sort of nachos or something. I don't really do that for this game. My tradition started about 6 years ago when I was living by myself, and
Oh, I like this. I didn't know we were gonna get a story. I like this.
I had a tradition where I would always get wings during the Oscars.
Oh,
That ended up being my tradition. I would get B-dubs or wings, etc., up here and watch the Oscars. I've done that every year. Super Bowl, it just kind of depends on what sort of party I'm at or whatever I'm doing. But yeah, I mean, wings is probably the answer. I'm a big chicken wing guy. Mozzarella sticks.
boneless or bone in?
It depends on where I'm getting them from. Some places I will go one way or the other. Also depends on if I'm, in a large crowd of people, because sometimes bone-in wings are a little messy. And
yeah.
so it just kind of depends. But I love a good chicken wing. What are you getting tonight? What's the play?
Pizza and wings.
Pizza and wings.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
from like
both.
the same place?
Preferably, yeah.
So like Pizza Hut's pizza and wings?
Probably. That's probably what we'll go with. Yeah. Maybe
No
in the
free
Pizza Hut
ads.
parking lot.
No free ads. Yep.
But yeah, I think it's wings. I think it's wings, but I was just curious because like for Super Bowl, like when you're making something, Christy's big with the buffalo chicken dip. My go-to is pigs in a blanket, roll the little smokies up in the crescent rolls. Yep. That's my go-to. But yeah, for games like this where it's not like a full-on like potluck spread, I feel like pizza and wings for football. For baseball, hot dogs and brats.
Oh, for sure.
Has to be hot dogs and brats.
I'm already missing summertime weather and summertime food. Here it is, January 9th. I really want a hot dog. Yeah, I'm with you.
That was it.
No,
We can move on.
I'm a wing guy. I'm a chicken wing guy.
Yeah.
College Football Hall of Fame inductees inductees were announced. Tim Tebow made the list. Reggie Bush made the list. They're Hall of Famers in my book, Coach. I would agree with that. Did you have any takes on
Yeah, the only
Bush?
reason I put this on here is they took his Heisman away, yet he still gets to be a Hall of Famer. Like I know it's two completely different entities, but it just doesn't make sense.
I'm asking this question because I haven't actually done the research to know if this is a stupid question or not. Let me look at something here real quick. Because
while you're looking it up, I'll read off.
I might have a rebuttal, but go ahead.
Eric Berry of Tennessee, loved him in college. Robert Gallery of Iowa, Derek Johnson from Texas, Jeremy Maclin of Missouri, Michael Stonebreaker of Notre Dame. Don't know that dude. Don't remember him at all, but he has the best last name I've ever seen, Stonebreaker. And then Brian Westbrook from Villanova. Did you know Brian Westbrook went to Villanova? I learned that today.
That seems like a stat that I might have known at one point in my life, but no, probably not.
D'Angelo Williams from Memphis, and then some coaches. Mark Richt was obviously Georgia and Miami, and then Paul Johnson, the triple option coach from Georgia Tech, going in as well. Did you find it a rebuttal?
Yeah, my rebuttal, it didn't really make sense. My rebuttal was going to be, did he have a good enough career outside of the Heisman season? But he played only 3 years, and I mean, his senior year was far and away his junior year was far and away his most best season. So yeah,
I also think not only the Bush thing. If you were to ask me who's the best college football player you've ever seen, I would probably say Tim Tebow.
Or Reggie Bush.
Yeah. So those are they're both going in this year. So
good class.
Yeah.
Good class. All right. NFL playoffs. Well, no, let's start with Damar Hamlin. That's the big news today. Damar Hamlin is miraculously a week later already been released from the hospital, has returned home to Buffalo. Just an incredible story from where we were a week ago. It was a week ago tonight, right? It was Monday night when that happened.
Yeah, Monday Night Football, yeah.
Yeah, it was a week ago tonight when that happened. So to be a week later to already be released from the hospital after everything that he went through, just absolutely incredible. So really happy to see that. He has made such incredible progression the past few days. His Twitter was absolutely blowing up on Sunday during the game. You could tell he was loving life, and happy for him, happy for his family, happy for his teammates, because they went through a lot. Everybody involved went through a lot. So happy to see that. Very excited to see that. I was not expecting to see that information today that he was released already a week later.
Yeah, we were sitting down having a small lunch, and I got the ESPN alert or something. I was like, "Holy cow, that came out of nowhere!" Because last I saw was they still considered him in critical condition. So for him to fly back to Buffalo and be in Buffalo is fantastic. Just it's been so cool to see the support, especially from Cincinnati. How the city of Cincinnati kind of supported him, and the Buffalo Bills as a franchise. And then the Bills game yesterday. I mean, the opening kick, returned for a touchdown. The first time the Bills touched the ball after it, and then they returned another one. So, yeah, just a crazy, a terrible event, a terrible incident has turned into quite a story with everyone rallying around and all of that. So, yeah.
Incredible. Just did not see that coming today. Incredible stuff. All right, NFL playoffs officially set after yesterday. We now know seeds and matchups for the first round. In the NFC, the Eagles are the 1, and they get the bye. The 49ers 2, Vikings 3, Bucks 4, Cowboys 5, Giants 6, Seahawks 7. So the first round there, Cowboys, Bucks, Giants, Vikings, Seahawks, Niners. Then the AFC, Chiefs are the 1 seed with the bye. The Bills 2, Bengals 3, Jaguars 4, Chargers 5, Ravens 6, Dolphins 7. So the first round, Chargers, Jaguars, Ravens, Bengals, and Dolphins, Bills. Just looking at that playoff bracket real quick. What do you
got? It's a tough question. Not really sure. I think I got the Eagles in the NFC. I know they haven't played great down the stretch, but I think there are probably only 2 teams from the NFC that I could see making it. I think there are 3 in the AFC. And I don't know about the AFC.
I'm going to pick a fun team in the AFC.
Okay.
The Chargers.
Okay.
I don't know why. I just like it. I don't know. They might also not get past the Jaguars, but there's just something about that team. I don't know. That's what I'm taking.
Okay.
Are these go ahead.
I'll take Eagles. I thought you were going to take the Bills, so I didn't want to take the Bills, but I'll take Eagles Bills.
Oh, okay.
Since you took the Chargers.
Okay. Then I'm going to take the Chargers, and I'm going to take your beloved Cowboys.
Oh, yeah. Good luck with that. Jeez.
Yeah,
I think it's either
Eagles. It'll be Eagles, Bills.
It'll be
the Eagles and the Bills, Bengals, or Chiefs.
I think any of the top 2. I think Eagles, Niners, or Chiefs, Bills. I think that's the combination of those 4 teams is going to be in the Super Bowl. I don't think anybody else goes.
I think the Bengals could get back, but you're probably right. Our producer put some information here. Was this our information on what we did from our picks from before the season started?
Yeah.
So, okay. So Craig picked 2 AFC division winners, correct? He picked 4 AFC playoff teams, correct, in total. And he had 3 NFC division winners, correct, and 5 NFC playoff teams, correct. So 5 for 7 is not bad. 4 for 7.
No, we did okay.
And then I'd had one division winner correct in the
little bit better.
AFC, and five of the 7 playoff teams, 2 division winners in the NFC, and 5 playoff teams. So, yeah, I did a little bit better in terms of picking playoff teams. You did a little bit better in terms of picking division winners.
Yep.
Not bad. Not too bad for our predictions. I think.
No.
Who did you have winning it all? You were all in on the Broncos and
yeah. I had Broncos Eagles.
Okay.
Super Bowl. You had Bills Bucks.
Oh, I'm still alive.
You're still alive.
I didn't pick the Rams. Good on me.
Broncos. We both picked the Rams to win the NFC West.
They should have.
Broncos might be the worst prediction I've ever made.
Yeah, that was an abysmal season. So good on you for picking them. They were great all season.
Fired their coach before the season ended.
But they were better than the Bears, who ended up.
Were they though?
I don't know. Record shows they were. The Bears finished with the worst record in the NFL, tied with the Texans. But ended up. Did the Texans get one more win? I thought they had the same.
No, they had the same number of wins, but the Texans had a tie.
Oh, that's right. You're right. I forgot about the tie. Yeah. So the Bears got the number 1 overall pick, which they may or may not trade away.
Yeah.
But they have it right now. So I know Bears fans are excited about that. I don't even know what they'll do with it, but I know Colts fans want it. So who knows?
Colts, Seahawks.
A lot of teams could use it. The Bears could use it.
There's like 5 QB needy teams in the top 10, I think.
The Bears do not need a quarterback. So
no.
Who's going number 1? Who's number 1 on the mock drafts right now?
Bryce Young or CJ Stroud. I think it's Bryce Young probably, depending on how they grade out. But I would take CJ Stroud, but I think it's going to be one of those two.
Bears don't need him. Bears do have a quarterback. We'll see. Some other NFL news. Lovie Smith was fired today. He is now the Texans are amongst one of 5 teams, I believe, without a head coach. I'm not sure what's going on in Houston. That franchise has gone down the toilet.
That's
real quick.
Back-to-back one and done coaches. They fired him after their first season. He had 3 more years left on his contract.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing.
I mean, we didn't understand the hire when they hired him for it. So, I mean, what are you doing?
I don't know. I can't answer.
Does he coach again? Do you think? I mean, he's got 3 more years paid. The Texans are coach's contract.
I don't know why he would. I don't know why he would.
Yeah, he's like 65. Like, you're
just
good,
go
man.
Retire. Just go retire. Yeah. You call it a day. You've had a career. You're fine. But that's an opening. The Colts is technically an opening. Chef Saturday was just an interim coach. Don't know that I see him coming back.
No.
The Cardinals fired Cliff Kingsbury today. And
Finally,
that goes with the Broncos and the Panthers also have head coaching vacancies. So the NFL coaching carousel will begin shortly. And
Jim Harbaugh take one of those?
I think it's possible, but I don't know. My thing is if he didn't take the Vikings job, I don't know why. I don't know what about these jobs would be more enticing. Other than, I don't know.
I mean, the Cardinals job's enticing because you got Kyler.
You got a talented quarterback.
The Broncos are right there. I mean, I wasn't the only one to pick them to win the Super Bowl. They got Russell Wilson, Javonte Williams. Their wide receiver core is great. Their defense is fantastic. I mean, they're really close. I would probably rank it. That's probably the most appealing to me is the Broncos. Then probably Cardinals, Panthers, Colts, Texans in that order.
Yeah,
probably. I don't know that Harbaugh is going to take the Broncos job. I think if he takes any, it would be the Colts. But does he want that pressure of going back to where he played? He's in the Ring of Honor. So
I think he stays. I don't think he goes anywhere. That's my prediction. But
yeah,
only time will tell.
Yeah.
Craig, anything else you want to touch on before we shut this thing down?
TV
shows, any movies, any celebrity gossip?
Just this morning, we watched the new Pinocchio on Disney Plus.
Oh, the Disney Plus version. There are 2 Pinocchios that were released this year.
Oh, I didn't know that.
One of them is on Disney Plus from Robert Zemeckis, starring Tom Hanks, which is the version that you watched. Yep. One of them is from famed director Guillermo del Toro. It's on Netflix, and it is a stop motion animated movie. One of these two movies is a very good animated movie, and the other one is garbage. And you watched the garbage one.
Oh, yeah, it was weird.
It's
It was not great. It was not great. We were watching a show. We watched Manifest. So Manifest is back on Netflix. On the newest season. So we're trying to get caught up on that. And I look over and Christy's asleep. So I'm like, okay, can't watch this because I don't want to get farther ahead than her. So I just went to Disney Plus and I couldn't find anything. I was like, I'll check it out. I've never been a huge Pinocchio fan. Like the old ones didn't really do much for me. I was a Jungle Book fan. Jungle Book was my thing growing up. Of the old Disney before like Aladdin and Lion King and all that. But I was never a Pinocchio like huge fan, so I've always thought it was a little weird. And yeah, this one was definitely left a lot to be desired.
You want to know a fun fact, Craig?
You've never seen it.
That's not my fun fact. I'm up to 82 movies from 2022. You want to guess where Pinocchio
that ranks 82nd?
The Robert Zemeckis, Tom Hanks, Disney Plus Pinocchio is ranked
82.
82.
Oh my god!
I literally have it as my worst movie of the year. It is so bad. It is so incredibly bad, which is unfortunate because I love Zemeckis. I love his movies. I love Tom Hanks. I love Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
I had no clue that was Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I never would have guessed that.
He does a very different voice. Disney Plus, I'm not thrilled with some of the things Disney Plus is doing, but I don't need to get into that now because we're running out of time. Yeah. But that's a really bad movie. The other Pinocchio is a much better movie. Okay. But not that you need to watch both of them, but it is a far superior version of Pinocchio. And it's on Netflix. I did catch up on a couple movies. I'm closing down the year. I got couple more left. I got about 6 more that I would like to really get to. But I finally watched a couple more that'll be Oscar contenders. Banshees of Inisherin. I finally got to, which is really good. I watched Nope again last night. Still a great movie. I would highly encourage you to watch Nope if you haven't already done that. Nope. Golden Globes tomorrow night, the same time Illinois is playing a basketball game. So I'm going to have a dual screen action going on, and our post game is going to be interesting because you're going to be leading the show, and I'm going to be celebrating Best Actor. So it's going to be wonderful. Let's shut this thing down. We're running out of time. He's Craig. I'm Logan. This is No One Asked Us. Like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. We will see you tomorrow night for Illinois basketball. Until then,